Good evening. Welcome,
Hi,
everybody,
everyone.
to the AFLW show. Good evening, Kira. Good to have you back.
Hi, it's good to be back. I'm really excited, although the result was definitely not what I wanted to return on. I wish I was here for the win and not what happened on the weekend, but I'm very, very happy to be back. We don't have long left of the season, so we've got to soak it all up.
That's exactly right. And I want to thank Amanda again for last week
Yes.
stepping in. It was fantastic. And she even came and sat behind us in the cheer squad on Friday night. So it was actually good to meet her in person. And every time something happened, I turned to her and we're just like giving each other the look. It was, oh my God. When we were kicking all those goals, I just can't. Let's just get the show started and then we'll go straight into the review because we have a lot to unpack here.
Now we've got to talk about the game.
Yep, that was probably the highlight of the show, guys, was the intro.
Well, it started really, really well. Really well. And then
what happened? Like the first 5 minutes of the game, the ball sat in our forward 50, and I'm sitting there, and all I could think of was you, and I'm just like, Kira's going to be losing her mind here.
I was losing my mind, and I met Tori at the game. If anyone knows Tori from Carlton Twitter.
Tori? Oh, goodness.
I met Tori, and Tori was convinced that it was because she was in Melbourne that they were winning, and I'm like, you're never going home. And then the first quarter ended, and that whole situation ended because 26 points up to losing. So, yeah, we were losing our mind. We were so excited. We were like, one, where has this been the entire season? But two, they're actually playing really, really good football right now and against a quality opposition. And then, did they leave at quarter time? Like, what happened?
I don't know. And the thing is, like, we were doing that well that we actually started a Carlton chant after the first goal. We were up and about.
Wow.
And I'm just like, we were really, really, I don't know. It was our ball movement, our ability to lock the ball into our 50, and our ability to hit the scoreboard on multiple occasions.
It was unreal.
It was the Carlton we wanted for the entirety of the season. And it's the Carlton we got for the first 20 minutes.
Yep.
And
it was our highest first quarter score. So
that's what I mean. Like, we can see what they're capable of. And then literally the words that I used were back to normal programming.
Yeah, I remember getting that message from you.
Back to normal programming. Because I don't understand what the conversation was at quarter time to the end of the game. And funny enough, we actually said in the cheer squad, well, what's the bet we're going to be behind at 3/4 time?
Yep.
Just after that second quarter of performance by Richmond, and full credit to Richmond, because they were phenomenal after quarter time. They were able to grind their way back into the match little by little, like good sides do. And it's exactly why they've been able to win 6 in a row.
But that's what's so frustrating, because Richmond are a really, really quality side. So I don't know whether to base it on maybe they just had a bit of an off first quarter and that made us look really good, or to look at it as if we matched Richmond in the first quarter and then just went missing, which is so frustrating because, like you said, we can see what they're capable of and they build up so much hope within us and then they just crush it because I don't know, like, what was said at quarter time for that to end so different to how it started.
No, and this for me already is just there was a first comment. Hi, Lewis. Had a look, saw it, and I'm like, yep, we haven't been able to win a game at home for a very long time. It used to be a fortress.
It's bad.
Should have been a fortress.
It's really bad. And especially for supporters who, some supporters struggle to get to other grounds. It's easier to get to Icon Park if, that's our home ground kind of thing. And to not be able to see a win there this season, and I don't know if we will. I don't want to look too far ahead in the future of the next 2 weeks, but yeah, it's really disappointing.
I was there Tuesday doing some work. We were doing some interviews, and I spoke to someone who works for the Carlton College, and they were saying that they had a function there up in the Carlton College rooms, but the total number of people that were actually at the game was under 2,000.
Doesn't surprise me, and I'm not going to lie, at the final siren, I think, based on the reaction I saw in the crowd, I think it was very heavily Richmond-based as well. I think a lot of the crowd were yellow and black.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at the games, the doubleheader game the day after, and seeing so many people there, it just shows me that our fans just not interested anymore, and we can't blame them for that. Like, we have the diehard fans that go every week, like yourself and myself and the majority of the crew at the cheer squad. We usually go every week because we want to see this team succeed. And unfortunately, it's just not been there this year. It hasn't been there for a couple of years, and the mass walkout is just unreal. And it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, because it's just something that we just can't. One, we can't control, and two, well, it's in between their ears. So something's not happening between their ears and they're just, yeah. I'm running out of words to describe it.
I know we do have this conversation before most weeks. It's like, how do we word differently what we said last week? Because it's the same thing week after week after week. Except this week we actually did some decent things in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then, which makes the loss even harder to swallow. And I think the most telling sign to show our season is that at quarter time, I wasn't, as much as I say I was excited, like, I was a little bit disconnected from the game. It wasn't even like I was looking forward to the last quarter and hopefully celebrating a win, because, to be honest, I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought this is too good to be true. We haven't done this all season, so why kind of would we do it now? So yeah, I think that's a telling sign.
No, and this comment right here is accurate as it can get. Like, she kicked 4 goals. Nothing was done to change it. No one was moved on her to try and stop her. And we do need to learn and develop how to finish off teams. I mean, Brisbane know how to do it. Melbourne certainly know how to do it. Hell, Richmond even seem to know how to do it now. And they're going to be playing finals for the first time in their club's history, which is phenomenal for them. But, like, let's have a look. Let's go through the game. Let's have a look at some stats here. So
it started off really, really well.
I'm looking at it. And again, our biggest problem, and it's been a huge issue all year, is marks inside 50. Even though we kicked 4 goals in that first quarter, for the entirety of the game, we had 2 marks inside 50 as opposed to 10. Inside 50 count, 28 to 29. Clearances, we won 26 to 23. They beat us in contested possessions. We tackled more. And as standard, Bree Moody won the ruck tap by an absolute country mile. But no good winning the ball if you're not going to do anything with it. And I said last week on the show to Amanda that this game was going to be won and lost in the midfield.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we only had 2 players get coaches' votes, Mim and Abby. Mim got the 5, Abby got 1. And I mean, I know coaches' votes aren't, they don't tell you how your side went on the weekend, but I think that's a pretty telling sign that we, not even the individuals were able to really have a standout performance on the weekend, which is what we've spoken about quite a lot on the show this year, is how we haven't been able to put it together as a team, but at least we can see a lot of individual brilliance. Whereas I don't even think on the weekend we saw a whole heap of that, if I'm being honest.
No, well, there was a piece of play that I want to highlight that we all thought was sensational, and it was between Mim and Abby. They were, I think, Mimi had it at halfback, kicked it to Abby. Mim ran past for the handballed it back to Abby, and we got it inside 50. But the kick inside 50 was poor, and the ball ended up bouncing back and going the other direction. The play leading up to that was fantastic. Just didn't execute. Just didn't finish it off.
Yeah.
And that's been our problem all year. Like, we have nice little patches of really good ball movement, but the time, it's like we go into a warp, a time warp, and they get to the forward 50, and it's like going back in time in the back line.
I know, and we still haven't fixed up the problem of the entire team going to the back line. I saw it a few times again on the weekend where the ball is in the back line and then it rebounds and there's no one in the forward half of the ground to receive the ball, which we highlighted that round 1. That's been an issue the whole season, so I'm not sure why that hasn't been fixed. There's quite a lot of things that just make you scratch your head.
Literally. So marking inside 50, kicking the ball inside 50, kicking goals, and our ability to do two-way running. They're the 4 key things that we've highlighted for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
We've been sitting here for 8 weeks, Wednesday after Wednesday, saying the same thing over and over and over again. And
reworded a little bit different, so it sounds interesting.
Literally. But I feel like they start games okay. And then once they get to that second quarter towards halftime, it's like they run out of legs. And the amount of times I heard everyone around me screaming for Jess Good to run did my head in. Because she needs to run. Jogging isn't going to cut it. Jogging isn't going to cut it in this game. And I understand we have a youngish list, right? But we have enough experience in that team to be better. They moved Darcy Vesio back into the forward line and they didn't get their hands on the footy. They're best suited, if you want them to get their hands on the footy, is playing them off the half-back line because it was working. It was working. Gab up forward, Darcy down back. They were getting their hands on the footy. The ability for them to touch the ball was fantastic. But we've said it all year, and it's a shame because they've been one of our best players for so long, is that this is probably one of their worst seasons they've played. They haven't been able to get their hands on the footy at all. And that's not all on them. It's their teammates around them.
Yep,
so,
100%.
And unfortunately, they're only one person. They can't go and grab the football and just run around and be their own player. Their teammates need to be able to bring them into the game. And unfortunately for Darcy, that's not happened this year. And everyone's noticed it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I don't think there's much more to say on that. I think I just think the entire team, barring obviously a few individuals who have had outstanding seasons, and if they were in another team, they would be talked about a lot more in a successful team. But I think we're just going backwards and it's really, really hard to watch and really hard to swallow, especially, and we've said this about 50 times in the show already tonight, but especially when you see what they can deliver in that first quarter, when you see that they can do it and they are good enough. But I don't know where or what the problem is, but somewhere along there, the connection gets lost and football games aren't won in one quarter of footy. It's a 4-quarter game for a reason. And we're not playing 4 quarters.
No, we're barely playing one. And it upset me to see the photo of Kez hugging Abby, because you can see that they don't want to lose. They're not going out there on purpose to lose. It's just the way that the game plan's being executed or the game plan's being explained to them to be executed. And
I think Nathan said it in the comments too.
Yeah.
And that image, this is going to sound really bad, what I'm about to say, but I actually enjoyed seeing that image. Not as in I enjoyed seeing her upset. It gave me comfort knowing that they care. And they are upset and they are hurting because, I think post game they did a few laps and were giving out high fives. And I don't think, initially that didn't give me the best impression. But I think after seeing that image of them truly upset, I think that gives me comfort in knowing they do care. They're just like, we can't put it together.
Yeah, Kez came over to us after the game, and the first word that came out of her mouth was the F-bomb. So she looked at us and she goes, so
Explains it.
It does explain a lot. And we also had the Hosco girls come around and apologize and say sorry. But whoops. No, but we love those two girls, and we'd have them back in an absolute heartbeat, and they tore us apart as expected. So
I was not emotionally ready to see them play for Richmond again. I think every time we play Richmond, it's still a hard pill to swallow. I think we all loved them so much in the navy blue. I think we love all the girls, everyone that adopts the navy blue, but it's tough seeing them.
If you can all see that, that's just Jess and Sarah holding my little one from the game, and I showed Kira, and it's a bit of a sad moment, and I've just been told not to swear by my father. So hi, Dad. Good to see you're watching.
Hi, Dad.
That was really funny when you met my dad. You're like, hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad. But yeah, no, it's going to take some time to get this team to gel. And in all honesty, I personally don't think they will let Harford see out his contract. Part of me thinks that they will move him on, but the other part of me thinks that they'll let him go one more. I'm not sure. Like, I'm kind of torn. I kind of want them to bring in someone else with fresh ideas, because Harford's been around for a very, very long time. And I think we're at the point now where, thank you very much for your service to the Carlton Football Club, but we need someone with fresh ideas.
Spot on. And I think I'm torn too. I think part of me says, surely he won't, he can't see out his contract when the win-loss ledger is what it is, and we've lost that many players in the off-season. It's all got to lead to somewhere, and unfortunately someone has to be the, result of that, if that's the right wording. But the other half of me is like, well, this has been the same for the past year or so, and he got a contract extension. So maybe he will be our coach next year, and I think that only time will be able to tell us that, but it'll be very interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, so just coming back to this one, yes, next year will be. I think he was contracted for this season and season 8. Yes. I was waiting.
Shannon. I vote too.
I am playing, so no. But let's just scoot back around. I just noticed up on the website that popped up the latest injury news. So here's where our players are at heading into round 9. Mia Austin is still got 1 week left in her moon boot. Maddie Guerin has now, they're doing work in the gym, but Maddie Guerin is 4 weeks post-op, is progressing into strength work in the gym. Phoebe McWilliam has 1 more month left in the boot, and she's also still doing gym work. And Lily Goss had surgery on her shoulder today and will commence rehab shortly.
I really do appreciate the injury report. It's nice to be kept in the loop, but I do find it funny. I was reading it earlier thinking it does sound a little bit like we're at the start of the year, like the way 1 week left. It's like, then we only have 1 game left and start rehab in a month, pre-season. It just made me laugh. I'm a bit like, there's only 2 weeks left, but We wish those girls all the best, and hopefully they recover well and they'll be back bigger and better.
Yes. I do want to highlight I think she played her second game. Her name's Ortlip. I thought she played really well for her second game in the system. She attacks the ball really well. Obviously, it's a step up into the AFLW system, and for her to be able to fit in quite nicely into that lineup and bring something to that lineup, a bit of aggression, is needed. I just wish everyone else could soak up that energy and just.
Yeah, because, well, it's always easier to look good in a good side. So I think the fact that we're appreciating what she can bring to the Carlton that's currently on the park, which is struggling, I think that's even more credit to her, because I think it's a lot harder to play a good role and have an impact when the team as a whole, who've been there for much longer, are also struggling. So I think absolute credit.
Yeah. And just to go and talk about Abby McKay for a second, looping back around to that photo, listen to these stats. 19 disposals, 6 kicks, 13 handballs, 1 mark, 11 tackles.
That's the big one. 11 tackles.
I'm just scrolling through. Kez had 6. Keely Shara had 5. She had 12 disposals, 7 kicks, 5 handballs. She played really well. She was really in and under. Darcy Vesio had 12 disposals and 6 tackles. That was when they were playing in the back line. I feel like they didn't touch it in the last quarter. So that's what I mean, getting their hands on their footy. So a lot of our players, I think there was only one.
So did Abby have double the amount of tackles anyone else? Yeah.
Pretty much. There was only 2 players that didn't lay a tackle, and one of them was Taylor Ortlip, and the second one you might be a bit surprised by. Mua Lalawifi didn't lay a tackle. Yeah.
Wow. That really surprises me.
Yep.
A lot. Wow. I'm trying to think back. It feels like forever ago that we played, because we played on the Friday. I'm trying to think back. Yeah, interesting.
A little fun fact for your night, guys. Little fun fact. So to put that one to bed now, we can only move forward.
Yes.
And unfortunately, as Nathan put it, you can't fault the girls' endeavour. They're not being set up and given the best chance to perform. So that pretty much just sums it up in a different way, the way we've been talking about it for the last 8 weeks. But we move forward to round 9, and this week we travel up to the Sunshine State and we play the Gold Coast Suns, who haven't been too bad themselves this season. They
are below us. They're below us on the ladder. Their last 3 games where they lost to Melbourne by 49, they beat Sydney by 34, and they lost to Richmond by 4.
Yeah, so I watched that Richmond game and they were pretty good. I'm not 100% confident that we'll get the job done here. I won't write off Gold Coast at all. This is our third trip interstate. And we play again on Friday night.
Lovely.
So
early too. Early.
This is going to make you laugh. I'm going to read a little excerpt from the story here. It says, with both sides mathematically still in the hunt for finals, Friday's matchup shapes as a must-win in order to feature when the home and away season concludes. While other results will need to fall in the winner's favour, 4 points and some vital percentage will provide a boost to the victor's chances.
We must win for all of our happiness, but I don't think winning is going to put us in the 8 by any stretch of the imagination unless a miracle happens.
Yes, that's what I mean. And it says to watch. From a Navy Blue perspective, Gab Pound will be out to continue her impressive form in front of goal, hitting the scoreboard in 3 consecutive matches while providing the option to be moved behind the ball to increase composure when needed. So if we turn to the opposition, the Suns will be out to bounce back from a tough loss to Melbourne falling to the reigning grand finalists by 49 points. Alison Drennan and Charlie Rowbottom customarily dominated through the middle with 20 and 19 disposals respectively, with Lucy Single also impressed with 17 disposals, 4 tackles and 4 clearances. So last time we met, we beat them by 30 points at the tail end of season 6. So we'll be looking to continue that good form.
Please.
Yeah. So let's just go out there and have a crack. Friday night, 7:40 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So that's our time, 6:40 local time. You'll be able to watch it on 7mate, Fox Footy, the AFLW app, and KO for those that are going to be watching. I will watch it on 7mate.
I find Gold Coast a really tricky one. I have absolutely no idea how to even go into this game thinking, because I feel like they're similar to us in you don't know what you're going to get, and every game is completely different. I mean, they only went down to Richmond by less than a goal, and we saw what Richmond did to us in the 3 quarters. They beat Sydney by 34. Sydney's still yet to get a win. They should have on the weekend, but that's another story. And then they had that really big loss to Melbourne. So I feel like they're similar to us in that you just don't know what you're going to expect. They're roller coaster, absolutely. So it depends what Gold Coast comes out and what Carlton comes out to know really how a quarter is going to play out, let alone how the entire game's going to play out. I think the fact it's in Gold Coast will hurt us a little bit too, but maybe it will help us because it's not a home game and we've got a home game curse. So maybe we will win.
This is the comment for me. Sorry, but I'm the negative Nelly. I'm just seeing it for what it is.
The thing is, I'm also like, is pessimistic the right word when you go into most games thinking you're going to lose? Is that the right word?
Yes, it's pessimism. Yeah.
Yes, that's me normally because I don't want to be let down. And I'm like, if we lose, then it's okay. And if we win, then I'll be really surprised and happy. But by the same time, I'm always trying to build up my hope and confidence throughout the week. So I'll just put that all onto you guys.
This is me at the start of this year walking into any Carlton game because you just never knew what you were going to get. And then as soon as we won round 1, we were winning the flag. Didn't happen, but we were winning the flag.
That's like when our AFLW girls beat Essendon. We're winning the flag.
That's what we said. We're like, oh, yeah, we're winning.
We actually might make the 8.
No, I don't want to make the 8.
No, I mean, that's what we were thinking when we beat Essendon. Not now. There's no way we'll make the 8 now. And if we do by some miracle, we absolutely don't deserve to be there. Yeah, true. True, Amanda.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting matchup. We're just going to have to see where we fall. We'll know within the first couple of minutes whether we're going to win or whether we're going to lose.
But will we? Because maybe we'll play really well in the first quarter and then go missing.
Can we though?
Can we just for fun?
Can we just for funsies? Because like next week we play the Bulldogs at home and we all know how that's going to end because the Bulldogs took it to who do they play on the weekend? It was a really close game. I think they play who did the Doggies play on the weekend?
I have no idea. And it's at home, so we won't be winning that.
It was St Kilda. It was a really good game. So it was backwards and forwards for majority of the game, and then the Doggies just pulled away. The other good game on the weekend was Hawthorn and Giants, for those that didn't get to see that one. It came down to the last 30 seconds, and Giants kicked a point. It was really, really good. So there is some good quality games every week. It's just that every time we watch one, when our side's involved, it doesn't end well.
No, it does not. I was actually saying to Shan at the game on Friday, I was saying as bad as it is, as bad as it sounds, I actually get more joy now out of watching opposition AFLW games because there's no heartbreak and there's no just difficultness. Difficult. I don't think that's a word. Anyway, it's not difficult to watch because I don't need to swallow us just putting up not a great performance. So I think that, that just shows where we're at this season.
Yeah. Look, it is. But at least the merchandise that we got on the weekend was pretty good. Like, I love these t-shirts.
That is
They're
a
the
nice
best.
t-shirt.
I thought I'd put it on tonight, considering we had Pride round, and I got this t-shirt from the Carlton Pride tent, and it was had little pride flags going as well. I had my little one waving her pride flag, so it was really good.
That was adorable. Just quickly, I love
Yes.
that we love the t-shirt, but it's very sad that the t-shirts are our positive from a game of football, because
I know.
we should Carlton, we should be talking about how much we enjoyed the game and how good like the last quarter was, not how good the t-shirts were.
No, but that first quarter, I was sitting there in complete shock, and Amanda can attest to my facial expressions during that first quarter.
I could see your facial expressions from the other side of the ground.
Because it was just our ball movement. I keep coming back to how amazing that first quarter was, and just the disappointment after quarter time. I just don't want to do that against Gold Coast. If we're going to beat the Gold Coast, they've got a lot of good runners and a really, really up and coming midfield. I want them to be able to be consistent across the 4 quarters.
Absolutely. I'd rather them not play as well as they did in the first quarter, but sustain it for the entire game, than play an absolute blitz of a first quarter and then go missing. Because it'd be better if you toned it down 10% and spread it across the entire game. That might actually take us somewhere in terms of results. So
you're right, yes. And I was saying to Dad in the car on the way home that it's like we attacked for that first quarter, and then something in the brains just went like this, and they went into defensive mode, and they played defensive football for the rest of the game. No. We want them to play short, sharp, direct footy, and there's my direct quote. But it's true. Like,
it's true. And
it's almost like as well.
I haven't spoken to any of the players, so I don't know if they were actually thinking this, but from an outsider looking in, it almost seems as if they had the exact same reaction we did, and they were so surprised at quarter time at what they were able to do that then they were like, what happens now? Like, what do we do? I don't know. Do you know? And they all didn't know, because we've never done it. Well, we haven't done it this season, at least. So they were all so shocked by what they just put out on the field that they didn't know what happens next. So then they just kind of paused and
not conditioned to win.
Yeah,
a bit like the men.
I was just about to say, it's very similar to what our men were like for a while, even the last few rounds.
A very long time our men have been in a culture where they were not winning. And it's a hard thing to break.
Exactly. New coach, new assistants, flip of the culture. Look what happens. So the football club's done it before. So
let's be done. And listening to Harry Mackay talking to Dill, for those that haven't watched it, listened to the podcast, I highly recommend that you do. And even Harry said the culture shift. It's cool to want to do extra running. It's cool to want to do this. It's cool to want to do that. They don't like doing all the stupid shit anymore.
Yeah.
They want a winning culture. And just listening to Harry talking about that, I want that for the girls. I want them to take a look at themselves as a group. And if you're going to get together and do team bonding, do it in pre-season, not 2 or 3 weeks into the season. Like, don't all go out for dinner after round 3 to get to know each other. That should have been done post-draft night when you were doing pre-season. So these are the little things I want them to do for next season. We got a little bit of a break between seasons. We're not back until, I think, the bye round of the men's season next year. So that'll be round 10, 11, 12 or 13. So probably around your early June mark, I'd say. So you've got time in the off season to get together, and you got time in the off season to bond. You got time in the off season to meet your new coach, because I feel like we're going to have a new one. No, guys, it's not me. I'm sorry. But we just need that culture shift. And whether it's certain players retiring and moving on or whatever it is. We just need a culture shift. And once we have that culture shift, I feel like we have new people in the football club, new game style, same crop of players that we know are talented and know can do the job. Who knows what's going to happen next season?
Absolutely. And I think, it's very well known these days with how much, even the men talk about, the mindset side of the game and the mental side of the game. I think now more than ever, we know that it's not just all about skill. Skill is vital. That's what football is. But, and if you don't have that, then you're doomed. But we have skill. So now it's lacking at a lot of times, but we do have skill. So I think there's got to be another avenue within the club, within the players that can be shifted to just have that tick. Something just needs to give, to change, whatever it is. There's something there, because at the moment it's not working.
Right.
So you've got a few months, as you said, June next year, if that's what it is. And every club has the same amount of time. So do more than the club next to you, the club above you, below you on the ladder. Do more than them, because everyone will be trying to get better. So if the best get better and then we get better, we're still behind. So something
Correct.
needs to
Correct.
happen.
Spot on. That is so true. Like the good are only going to get better.
Yep.
We're going to have to, as in the words of Michael Voss, going to have to work harder.
Yep.
Can you encourage the girls too?
Get busy getting better.
Get busy getting better. I love that line. That should be up somewhere in the club. Get busy getting better. And
spot on.
Oh, what a way to round up the show. I feel like it doesn't need to go the full 45 minutes tonight because there is nothing left to talk about.
We've said it all. We say it every week.
Everybody knows that we can't kick. Our marking is still terrible. Like simple chess marks, not happening. Our ability to kick goals is getting better, but our ability to mark the ball inside 50 to kick a goal is terrible. So I feel like we're just going to go around in circles. So, yeah.
So we do know that there's 2 weeks left, but I think we all know that those 2 weeks now are pointless in meaning anything to the season. So now we're starting to look forward to the preseason and something, hopefully we hear from the club soon. I'm sure they're not going to talk about the preseason when the season's still going, but hopefully as soon as that last game's done, we get some sort of communication at what the plan is going forward. Because if they just leave us wondering, then it's going to be a very, very long off season.
No, and that's it. And I'm hoping that next week's not our last show. If we are going to make finals, then so be it. But if next week is our last show, in relation to the season, then I'll be sad because I've really enjoyed these last 8 weeks doing this show with you, and we will do a review show of the season as a whole.
That'll be a sad episode.
It will be. It will be a sad episode because we'll look at who we think will move on and retirements and just individual player reviews. So we'll discuss all things that postseason, of course. But while we still have 2 games left, let's make the most of it. Everybody in the comments, put in your comments who do you think is going to win this weekend and by how much. I'm going to say Carlton by 5 points again, like I did last week. Putting it in the atmosphere, manifesting.
I'm going to say Carlton by 11. I don't know why. I think we can win, but I think we can. It would be Carlton to win a few games at the end of the season.
Yeah. Chris, Carlton by 10. I did see Rob say earlier 25. There you go, said it again. Thanks, Rob.
No. Nathan! No. My heart can't take that. That would be
more draws.
That would have to be a record, surely. If we don't already have the record.
Those 2 draws actually equal a win. So, be still my heart. I do not need anything closer. But no, it'll be an interesting night. Tune in, support the girls. We say it every week. It's going to get harder. We have one more home game next week, which we'll preview. But let's just get the job done against Gold Coast. It'd be a very, very Carlton thing to do, like we did against St Kilda. So let's just go out there, give it our best, hope for the best. I'll definitely be messaging Kira Friday night, backwards and forwards.
Yes.
And we want to thank you all for your support and watching us every week and watching us post going live. Your comments, your kind words, we really appreciate the support for the show.
It makes the losses a lot easier when you know there's a community all going through it.
That's exactly right. And even though AFLW at the moment is a small community for the Baggers, I'm sure we'll back bigger and better, and we'll be doing positive shows very soon.
Hopefully next week we have a really good show. I'm vibing it. Come on, world, please let this happen.
Let's hope so, hey? Oh, Lewis is going to message us after the game. Please do. I'll happily answer any fan mail. Just kidding.
Fan mail.
Just kidding. But no, thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Up the Baggers, and we'll see you all next week.